Welcome, Fantasy Football Drafters. I'm Andrew Erickson, and today I'm breaking down 8 players you have to avoid drafting at all costs in 2024 NFL drafts. But before we steer clear of these landmines, you want a chance to win a signed Puka Nacua Los Angeles Rams helmet for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. All you need to do is head to fantasypros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard app, leave a review for the podcast, or follow us on X, Instagram, or TikTok at Fantasy Pros. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive. I'm announcing a winner right here on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Now, let's get to the players to avoid list. Tight end Dalton Schultz, Houston Texans. I didn't like the price of Dalton Schultz last year, saying that he would be in a much worse offense going from Dallas to Houston. That take didn't age well, given CJ Stroud's impact as a rookie. But even so, Schultz just met ADP expectations as a tight end 11, and there were times last year when he was posting bad usage trends when Brevin Jordan was in the lineup. Fast forward to 2024, he's back in Houston. But now he's viewed as the number 4 pass catcher behind 3 top wide receivers. The team also drafted Stroud's former college tight end Cade Stover in the 4th round. Considering Schultz's production took a toll when Brevin Jordan played more last year, I can't wrap my mind around Schultz as a priority tight end target in any fantasy football draft as a tight end 13 ADP. You have to score a ton of touchdowns to bury you, and they'll likely have to come in the red zone, given Schultz's severe lack of yards after the catch ability. Just draft Pat Freiermuth instead. Wide receiver Quentin Johnston, Los Angeles Chargers. After a disappointing rookie season, Quentin Johnston's fantasy value is on life support. The team moved on from Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but drafted rookie wide receiver Matt McConkey 34th overall. Chargers' new GM has been all sunshine and rainbows regarding the former first-round pick, but the lack of year-one production is incredibly concerning. Johnston finished 61st among 63 qualifying wide receivers in yards per route run as a rookie. Josh Palmer caught as many passes, 38, as Johnston in 7 fewer games played. Is it too soon to label Quentin Johnston a bust after his rookie season? I don't think so. Last time we saw QJ on the field, he had 2 catches for 17 yards in Week 18. He's a bust. Don't be swayed. He played all the snaps and had all the opportunities and routes with Keenan Allen injured the last few weeks of the season to step up, and he just simply didn't. Journeyman wide receiver Alex Erickson was out targeting Johnston the last 2 weeks of the season. Friends don't let friends, draft Quentin Johnston. Wasted pick even in the late rounds. Draft Demario Douglas instead, a rookie that actually produced in year 1. Wide receiver Mike Williams, New York Jets. There may not be another wide receiver in modern-day fantasy football that is more synonymous with boom or bust than Big Mike Williams. Williams signed with the Jets on a 1-year, $15 million deal this offseason, providing a temporary solution at the wide receiver tier position in Gang Green. Albeit there are some concerns given his age and recent injury history. Despite his Week 3 ACL tear, Williams has been productive, at least he was last year prior to the injury, ranking as a wide receiver 15 overall and wide receiver 17 in points per game. His addition gives the Jets a veteran presence and much needed immediate depth behind Garrett Wilson. But let's not get carried away with his individual accolades in last year's very small sample size, because it's the same story every single year with Mike Williams. Wide receiver 20 in points per game in 2022, but he missed 4 games. At this point, it seems like Williams will never really fully put together a truly epic wide receiver 1 season that he has teased every year since 2018. He's effective enough when healthy to post massive weeks that we know will not endure the length of the season. Translation, if you somehow end up drafting Williams coming off his ACL injury, entering his age 30 season, which you shouldn't, but if you do, you just got to sell high. Again, if you want to draft an older wide receiver, just draft Brandon Cooks on the Dallas Cowboys instead. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets. 2022, Aaron Rodgers finished as a top 12 quarterback twice. He had 0 spike weeks with 0 top 6 finishes. Rodgers hasn't passed for 300 yards in a game since Week 14 of the 2021 season. Coming off an Achilles injury at 40 years old with no value added from his legs to bolster his fantasy value, the Jets quarterback is firmly on my do not draft list. I labeled him as a bust before the 2023 season and got bailed out because of the injury, but he showed plenty of signs of decline at an older age to be pessimistic, and it was a brand new situation which oftentimes does not always pan out. The only case I could have made for Rodgers entering this year was I expected him to be dirt cheap after he was a QB 15 before the 2023 season, but I gave too much credit to the market because Rodgers is settling as the QB 20 in ADP. No, thank you. Running back Aaron Jones, Minnesota Vikings. The main headline with Aaron Jones landing in Minnesota is completely tied to his health, in my opinion, which is a real concern for the 29-year-old running back who will be 30 in December. Note that 0 of his $7 million contract is guaranteed, the same contract essentially that Dalvin Cook signed last year with the Jets. How'd that work out? I think the market overall is overvaluing Jones as the RB19, as the clear-cut RB1 in this offense. Ty Chandler showed last year that he's a very capable number 2 running back in his own right, beating Alexander Mattison out for the job. Minnesota Vikings beat writer Alec Lewis from The Athletic believes Chandler's usage will increase in 2024. Vikings defensive tackle Harrison Phillips compared the running back duo of Jones and Chandler to the running back pairing in Detroit. He also said he would buy stock in Ty Chandler if he could. So, meanwhile, Jones has never really been a touch monster, so he has to win with efficiency. So, consider me a little bit skeptical that an older running back like Jones, who had his lowest rushing yards over expectation in his last 4 seasons during an injury-plagued 2024 season, will make me regret not selecting him in fantasy football as a top 20 running back, especially an offense led by Sam Darnold and/or JJ McCarthy. Look, I was off Jones last year to success most of the time after he finished as the RB37, even with a strong finish. He's never been a true featured back, especially in the red zone, and specifically last year, Chandler was great in the red zone, perfect 3 for 3 rushing from inside the 5-yard line. Therefore, I see no need to change the script now. I faded Jones last year, I'm going to fade him again after he posted back-to-back seasons with a 19% or higher bust rate. Running backs that posted a 19% or higher bust rates from 2021 to 2022 were Javonte Williams and A.J. Dillon. You didn't want either guy in 2023. Give me the newly paid Ramondre Stevenson instead of Aaron Jones. Running back Javonte Williams, Denver Broncos. Since Sean Payton arrived in Denver, all he has done is bring in other running backs like Samaje Perine, Jaleel McLaughlin, and now 2024 5th-rounder Audric Estime. Estime landing in Denver is not ideal for his own fantasy prospects, but it's creating a very messy backfield similar to how Denver deployed a 3-headed monster last season. So I'd be concerned about how much Williams really dominates this backfield. Payton has already come out and been positive about Estime, saying he'll be competing for touches behind Williams on 1st and 2nd down. Last year, Williams struggled coming off his torn ACL injury. He was PFF's 52nd graded running back among 59 qualifiers. Recall that Williams only missed 1 game last year despite coming off the knee injury. The Broncos running backs collectively stayed very healthy last year from a total games played perspective. Ergo, this backfield could get blown up by ensuing chaos and injuries, and there are more than enough bodies behind Williams on the depth chart to pick up the slack. I'd shy away from Williams as the most expensive part in an offense that could be one of the worst in the NFL with Bo Nix as QB1. I'd much rather take a shot at Jaleel McLaughlin later in drafts as Nick's projected number 1 checkdown option in the passing game. Williams desperately needs to increase his routes and 3rd down role to get to the next level for fantasy, and that just doesn't seem likely given the presence of McLaughlin entering his 2nd year. Williams is entering the last year of his deal, so the team may ride him to the ground. Or Payton just prefers to use the running backs he has brought in over the last 2 years. There's just a lot of risk for a running back like Williams, and not much reward in my estimate for a running back who has been subjected to committees in college and at the NFL level. It's obvious Payton's sheer commitment to using more than just Williams doesn't seem to be disappearing anytime soon. Williams' 2023 role as a red zone rusher is his one saving grace, but how secure is that with Estime lurking? And how appealing is his touchdown potential anyway in this version of the Broncos offense? Just give me Brian Robinson Jr. over Williams. Running back Zack Moss, Cincinnati Bengals. Zack Moss to me is the closest thing you can find to this year's Alexander Mattison. In my opinion, I don't think Moss has really earned true playing time. Look, last year's role with the Indianapolis Colts came served on a silver platter. Jonathan Taylor was unavailable during the start of the year after being placed on the PUP list. Rookie Evan Hull was placed on IR after week 1. Colts week 1 running back starter Deion Jackson played the worst game we've seen from a running back that saw a 71% snap share and 18 touches. The Colts had no choice but to turn to Moss in week 2 after he broke his arm at the end of July. Simply put, Moss's most significant playing time came when Jonathan Taylor was injured for the Colts, highlighting a scenario where Moss may not have ever seen the field had the Colts starter not gotten hurt. In that universe, Moss never sniffs a deal with the Bengals in free agency, is likely a completely forgotten running back like he was last season after the Bills traded to him to the Colts for a 6th-round pick and Nyheim Hines. His underwhelming performance against the Bengals in his last start for the Colts last year underscores the potential downside of Moss's abilities. He had an 84% snap share. The result? 13 carries for 28 yards for 2.2 yards per carry. Woof. Moss's career has been as a journeyman running back, where he's been mostly the inferior back across any depth chart. He started 0 games in Buffalo while battling out for touches with Devin Singletary, another guy that's kind of viewed as just a guy at running back. And after he was traded to the Colts in 2022, he didn't sniff the field until Taylor was hurt over the last 4 weeks of the season. His competition for touches? Again, Deion Jackson. So consider me a little bit unimpressed. Projecting him forward with the Bengals, the contract is also hardly an indicator of future workload, given it's only $4 million per season and just $3 million guaranteed. Look, if I have to give Moss some credit, because he does deserve that at least, he does produce at an above average level when given opportunities, both in 2022 and 2023. So if Chase Brown in the Bengals backfield suffers an injury, I could get Moss having a few productive weeks here and there. But I want to continue to harp on Moss from a season-long perspective. I just cannot trust this profile. Remember, nobody was ever vying for Moss to get touches at any point during his NFL career. We would never be like, free Zack Moss. I don't remember those chants. It wasn't until the Colts were in a break glass situation that they turned the volume over to Moss. Now that he's starting to creep up into the top 25 running backs, I am so out. Give me Jaylen Warren or Tony Pollard over Zack Moss. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams. Cooper Kupp faced many injury challenges throughout the 2023 season, impacting his performance, particularly with the career-low yards per route run. Despite maintaining a 26% target share, he finished as the wide receiver 27 in points per game, despite touchdown-boosted production. In the games that Kupp was healthy alongside Puka Nacua, Kupp averaged just under 12 points per game with 5 receiving touchdowns. He went over 100 yards 4 times, but was held under 55 receiving yards in his 8 other games. At 31 years old in 2024, concerns linger regarding his ability to return to peak form. In addition to his poor yards per route run, Kupp also posted his worst yards after the catch per reception of his career at 5.3. I'm going to get out before things get worse for an aging Kupp. He's missed an average of 6 games over the last 2 seasons, and although many are forgiving Kupp now that he seems healthy for the upcoming season, we've been down this road with Michael Thomas for years. Once the milk is spoiled, it doesn't unspoil. Give me Devonta Smith, Amari Cooper, and Zay Flowers in the same range as Cooper Kupp in 2024 fantasy football drafts. And there you have it, folks. 8 players you should avoid drafting at all costs in 2024 fantasy football. Enjoyed this video? Be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Because at FantasyPros, there is no off seasons. And before you go, remember, if you want a chance to win a signed Puka Nacua Los Angeles Rams helmet for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you have to do is head to fantasypros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the FantasyPros Draft Wizard app, leave a review for the podcast, or follow us on X, Instagram, or TikTok at FantasyPros. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive. We're announcing a winner right here on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up, and to claim your prize. Thanks for watching.